Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm here finally with a new video. This time I'm covering One Piece chapter 1145. What can I say? I have been, well, I'll say busy. I don't know. I've just been struggling to find time to do these videos, so I am really late with this. Or especially considering we had a break week and the next chapter is on Sunday. So let's dive on in. So when I first saw this first panel, I was like, oh, so this is the cover image. We're not doing Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest this time. And I was like, it's really cool. They're watching, the Straw Hats are watching an episode of One Piece, particularly Luffy being in Gear 5, Gear 5. Whatever. But it's really cool. It's not really much to go in detail. There was being Straw Hats, like Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper are all getting excited about the episode. Jinbei and Robin just being chill. Brooke and Frankie together, just kind of hyped at the back. Sanji serving food and drinks. Nami's looking cute, and I just love it. It's cool. But then I went to the next page. I was like, oh, this is the actual cover, and that was a bonus image. So we did get a continuation of Ogre Child Yamato, and it's Ulti tearfully reuniting with her brother and delighted that she's alive. So I don't know if this story's going to go anywhere, if it's going to mean anything, if Ulti's going to be friendly with like Yamato or something. But she's recovered the katana, as we can see, and yeah, she's beating everyone. Impressive. Like we know Yamato's strong, but this was someone Jinbei fought, so he should have been strong by himself. So kudos to Yamato. Also, a really wordy chapter title here. Wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch Route 8. And as has been tradition on these last few chapters, where everything is kicking off in, different places, I wasn't sure where they would start off. And we kind of go, I don't even know where the hell we are, but we got one of the giants with a weird, like, planky, stripy shield thing that has a face. And they're fighting one of the beasts. I don't know which beast this is. Is this Jormungandr? I'm not really sure. But, yeah, I think he grows or stretches here and then blocks the attack by the monster. It's all very confusing. Yeah. But I did forget to point out that in the background of those panels, you could see it was the wintry underworld, and that is also confirmed by the middle set of panels here, where we see Zoro and Sanji getting ready to attack. And, well, we see the results of their attack as Zoro just completely beheads the beast. Yikes. So we move on to the next page, and I'm glad I'm rereading this. It's sort of like I am rereading it again because I'm forgetting things and remembering them as I go through this little review. But I forgot that it's the underworld, so it's not any of those stupid dream creatures because then none of those are in the underworld. And as this guy says, it's apparently a creature called a Groggysaurus, and it's a delicacy served if you stew it with alcohol or whatever. And then Sanji in the middle of the set is like, you don't have any of that stuff. But and they're going to go to a hunting shed, whatever. But he asks the pertinent question about this weird shield thing, right? And asking if he's like a devil fruit or something. And this is the best part. And I'm glad, I can't believe I forgot about this because it was very big. But in the bottom panel, it's revealed that he's actually created by Big Mum. He's a homie created by Big Mum. So, yeah. And apparently everyone loves Zeus. I don't love Zeus. He's kind of weird and annoying, but giants love Zeus. So this next page, we get this talk about holy nights, and you can kind of tell by the whole wheeze bit that it's Loki talking. And in the middle panel, you kind of see that he's recalling the story of how he got beaten up, basically. And Jordan ever holding a grudge, doesn't believe that Loki wouldn't be beaten up without reason. Actually, now I think about Hajerdin and Loki, wasn't he meant to be revealing something about the truth of Harold's death? What happened with that? They skipped over that. But we see in the bottom panel, like, Luffy seems to be processing this information. He's a bit slow on the uptake. I don't know what he's sitting on here. Is that the hilt of the hammer or something? Because I didn't see him in the middle panel. But anyway, someone seems to show up, noticed by the "Hey you guys" bit. But we'll see who that is. So it turns out those voices are the giant who I guess has a lisp or something, and obviously Zoro and Sanji. And it's kind of interesting in these the first half of this page is that Sanji almost compliments Zoro, I guess. Should have been there. I've never seen a graceful soaring broccoli. It's an insult, but it's also kind of complimentary. But they've collected meat. Big dinosaur. They've collected plenty of trees, so they're going to make a fire. And you get to the bottom panel. They've cooked the meat, and Luffy shoves a massive wad of meat into Loki's mouth. Bear in mind, this guy is on the brink of death at the moment. And oh my god, this page, yes. So Loki gets angry at Luffy for the whole shoving meat down his throat. And Luffy's just oblivious, like, oh yeah, you need to eat to recover. So, Loki's eating, he's like, oh yeah, sit me up. But he starts like choking on the meat or something, and Luffy just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get you a big helping of soup, and it's just bubbling hot. It's like he's gonna kill him with food. I think when that gets to the anime, that's just gonna be amazing. It's gonna be really funny. So this next page continues the comedy, where the first half is like the aftermath of Luffy basically scolding Loki with hot soup. And as he begins to apologize, it turns out Gerd is just like delighted that he's hurt Loki, and Sanji's wondering what he's done to make all giants hate him, and Zoro seems to still be convinced that Loki's lying about the whole promise with Luffy, but it looks like in the bottom half of the page, the final panel, in that Loki's seems to be recovering his strength in more of a talkative mood, and he seems that he's going to be talking about Shanks a bit, maybe. But he seems reluctant to uphold his end of the bargain since he's still got a chain, locked on him. But let's move on to the next page, shall we? But the next page is very interesting. So Loki seems to have a bit of familiarity with Luffy in that he talks about how he idolized a pirate, just like Luffy does with Shanks. And in the bottom half, the two panels at the bottom, it's the comparison with Luffy again. That, how similarly Luffy wanted to go with Shanks when he was a kid and he got rejected because he was a kid. It's the same with Loki. Loki was a child and asked this mystery pirate to take him with him, and he kind of outright refused him. And we've got a like dark silhouette of the pirate, so it's like there's two reasons for that potentially. One is it's a known pirate and they just want to hide his identity, or two, completely unknown pirate, or we haven't seen their appearance yet, right? So you look at the way he speaks. I didn't come here to meet a whelp like you. Stop making me repeat myself. Now, I looked at that and thought, that could be Roger. It does seem like a very Roger way of talking. But to round up this story with Loki and the pirate, he, frustrated that he got rejected, he challenged this pirate captain to a fight. And this is where we get probably the identity reveal, where it says he gets criticized for using his blade on a kid, and he just says, "Shut up, Newgate," which is Whitebeard. And who was Whitebeard a member of? The Rocks Pirates. So it's probably Roxy Zebek. And it's like, it still could be Roger, because Roger and Whitebeard did hang out a bit at times, but to me it seems likely that it's Rox. And at the end we have Loki complaining about being born in the wrong era. So he has his regrets too. And I look at these and it just seems to make Loki and Luffy have a lot of parallels, a lot of similarities, which is making me think that he might end up actually being an ally. A little bit of a chaotic ally, but an ally nonetheless. And I love this next page. It's just like, it's so chaotic, so confusing, so much is going on at once. You've got Drory and Bruggy, I get their names wrong, but the two bloody giants, and they're really getting into the fight. And the great ship Eric is just surrounded by like the Draugr and the bird. Like, is that Nidhogg? I don't know, but the more skeletons. There's Loki. It's like, and Mr. Yar, always forget his real name. I'll just call him Mr. Yar. He's joining in, and he does some weird attack. I don't know. There's so much going on. It's so chaotic. So in this next set of pages is kind of very interesting in that they seem to be relieved that these monsters are of child's imaginations, in that apparently they're not as strong as they potentially could be. And I found this middle set kind of interesting in that Scopper Gaban is hearing 3 abnormal voices. So I infer that is he's detected the 3 holy knights that are assaulting them, I guess. Interesting ability of his, if true. But then we move to the bottom. We've got the giant firefighters tackling this massive fire that is putting the children at risk. So hopefully they're successful there, right? But as we see on the next page, it looks like Sal has defeated Fenrir, and he's desperately trying to get the firefight. He's happy to see the firefighters, but desperately getting them to try and hurry up because the children are about to reach the fire. And as we see, even this, this picture of the children, you can tell they've done well to show how close they are to the fire. Because look, it's like the shading and whatnot just shows how close they are to the fire. And of course, at the bottom here, the Holy Knights are being jerks. Well, mainly the what's his name? I forget his name. It's not killing him. It's the other one. Just kind of thinking the whole idea of the children walking to the fire is hilarious. Even here on this next page, Gunko starts, I'd say, talking a bit like Robin, where she just says some macabre stuff. But yeah, saying that she's kind of guessing what will happen, that they'll wake up and cry from the heat and wail from the fire. It's really horrible. So she's not much better either. And it all seems hopeless. But then we see Sea Cloud. Someone's doing... It's not very clear, but who else messes with water? And we see in the bottom panel, someone throws water. Obviously Jinbei, saving the day. And if it wasn't clear, we see in the next page it was Jinbei. It was obviously Jinbei, and got Brook and Nami and Usopp cheering for him. And then Colin shows up with his little ship, which is actually giant for, the Straw Hats. So perfect. And they can jump into action, I suppose. But as we see in the next page, everyone's delighted that the fire has been put out. They start giving credit to the firefighters, but Chopper and Robin clearly know it was Jinbei. Because, of course, it was. But we see even Colin's happy. The kids don't like, the kids. He doesn't think the other kids like him, but he considers them friends, so he's happy that they're safe. And Nami, she loves children, so she finds that really sweet. But before they can celebrate and be happy and they've saved the day, obviously, what's going to happen? The setup for the next chapter is Gunko steps up to fight every one of the Straw Hats, apart from the monster trio, basically. And I think Chopper and Robin are in a different place as well. But at the moment, from the off, it's going to be Nami, Usopp, a drunk Usopp, by the way, Brook and Jinbei against Gunko. And I'm hyped for it. I want to see what she's capable of. And is it a mismatch, her taking on so many of the Straw Hats and the Giants at once? She must be pretty confident. And I look forward to see what she has in store. So how do you guys think this is going down? Who's going to win this one? Is it going to be Gunko? Is it going to be the Straw Hats? It's going to be some sort of weird draw. Is anyone going to run away? I think, push comes to shove, if I had to make a guess, I think Gunko might find a way to kidnap the children and the fight doesn't get a conclusion. But we will see. We will see. Until then, thank you for watching as always, and I'll catch you next time. Bye now.